So one of the many great things that Tanner does for us is that he goes out and travels and photographs things. What you have to know about Tanner is that Tanner did this before we hired him. Tanner continues to do this as a service. You know, he gets paid to do it. It's not like he's just doing it for free. But he had this awesome opportunity the other day to go and meet this baby rhino at Rolling Hills Refuge. And so we have some like fresh off the presses video.
Footage.
Yeah.
Oh, do you have some music? So that's Evie. That's mom.
That's the mom. Okay.
Oh my God.
So he's the baby Creed is standing in front of his mom licking a salt lick.
Sock block. Salt
lick,
block.
salt block.
Don't put your feet on it, man. Don't put your mouth there.
I don't think about how weird
my God.
their face shapes are until
They're very rectangle. Oh my
Oh my gosh.
He's like, what you doing?
Just
What you
ran
got?
right up to the camera. Oh, he's jumping.
That is so cute.
This will be something you can see either on the YouTube version if you're listening, or you can check it out on our Instagram. At some point we'll get it up there, I bet.
So the other thing is, so they named him Creed after Creed Humphrey for the Chiefs. He's the center of the Chiefs.
Gotcha.
So that's why Creed is named. You've had someone named after you. You've had a rhino named after you, haven't you? Or a hippo? There's not with this.
No idea.
Well, it's not like you personally.
Yeah. I was named after a hippo. No, I'm just kidding. I wasn't. Oh, he's getting
Gus the
belly
rhino.
rubs with a brush. So much character. What a delightful.
Very delightful.
Yeah, thanks for doing this, Tanner. This was really great. Welcome to Ask Kansan,
Podcast where we're amplifying, connecting, and uncovering Kansas.
and this is one of those episodes that feels especially crafted for me. So welcome, welcome to my world. Welcome to this episode.
Welcome to this episode of Gus Ask a Kansan. Ask a Kansan
Where I get
for
to
Gus,
nerd out about space stuff.
and I sit there and smile.
You asked?
No, but it's good.
Yeah.
So I live in McPherson, so Hutch is only 30 minutes away, so we go to Hutch all the time. It's either like, oh, are we going to Hutch, or are we going to Wichita, or are we going to Salina? Because they're all like between 30 and 15 minutes from our house. It's nice. It's a good in between.
That is nice.
So yeah, we've been to the Cosmosphere a lot.
So our guest today is Claire Ludes, who is the Executive Vice President of Development for the Cosmosphere.
Yes. So she gets to talk to a lot of really cool people. She has a lot of really cool stories. She's only been there for 2 years, and she's already done wonders, of course. It's what Claire does. So
Yeah. So if you're familiar with the Cosmosphere, we'll hit some of the high points again and maybe tell a few stories you don't know. And if you're not, this is your chance to learn about the Cosmosphere.
yeah. So without any further ado, here's our conversation with Claire.
Hi, Claire.
Hello.
Welcome. Come on in. You're carrying
is
boxes.
that?
Okay.
Oh my gosh,
Thank
you did not
Oh,
need to
it's
do that.
so heavy.
You did not need to do that.
This is so. Even the box is really cool.
While we open,
Super
can you
cool.
introduce yourself for our audience
Yeah.
so they know what we're opening?
Yes. So I
Yeah, let's get you.
raise this up here. Okay. Okay. There we go. I am Claire Ludes. I'm the Senior VP and Chief Development Officer for the Cosmosphere in Hutchinson, Kansas.
Oh man,
Awesome.
I'm
Well,
already. You're
welcome.
gonna lose your mind. Mainly,
Well,
I think
Gus's is a little bit different than yours.
Space pin.
Yeah, I got
Yes.
one.
Love it.
I
Now
officially have a
Sydney
space
has
pin.
her
I
own.
officially.
If
So
you-
we had
So
a.
you had Lori Blake on.
We did.
And
Yes.
Gus brought it up that he loves space pins. So I was like, oh, Sydney
Oh my God.
needs her own too.
What's my name?
Whoa.
So Gus,
challenge
and I'm sure we'll
coins.
get into this. Gus's box is more alumni based, which I
yeah.
hope that we get to that in the podcast.
yeah.
And then
Oh my
of course
gosh.
Sydney is more
I
just
love
general.
Yeah, well,
Stuff.
thank you.
Thank you.
I've seen a lot of mugs
Oh,
in my
you got
day.
Did you get a pen?
I
know
yes,
you're a pen
He-
guy. I might give this to you if you're, because he's a
I've got
pen
my own
guy.
pen. I am a pen guy. This is awesome. I've seen a lot of mugs in my day, but I don't know that I've seen many that have printing on the inside.
Yeah.
That's
I thought
really
you would appreciate
cool.
that.
Yes, thank you so much. This is so kind of
Love
you.
this.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
This is legit.
Now we're going to have to step up our game.
I know. Oh my gosh, look at this shirt.
Oh, it's like 3D.
Yeah.
That is
like
legit.
The
How
puff
do they
stuff.
print that?
Yeah.
I'm super impressed by your boxes.
boxes.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, we are going to
We
have to step
love
up our
those
merch.
boxes.
Custom printed.
That
Okay.
is brilliant. Okay.
So, gotta like focus
I
now.
know.
Yeah, focus.
Gotta
We got
get
all excited.
Back down to business,
I
right?
want my space pen now.
So could you tell us a little bit about how you ended up in this role working for the Cosmosphere?
I would love to. So I, as you both know, was the executive director for the Salina Air United Way here in Salina, and got approached by a recruiter that the Cosmosphere had hired to find the right person for the role that I'm in now. And reached out to me and said that a colleague here in Salina had recommended me for this job, but it's in Hutchinson, Kansas. And I said, well, I'm not moving. Like I'm pretty stuck here. And they're like, no, you don't have to move. If you're willing to, work remotely a couple days and drive to Hutch, which is, I have it down to a science by now, 50 minutes. They would really like to have you. And so I said, okay, well, I don't know a ton about space. I know the general, the history, all of those things. They said, no, we'll teach you that part. I said, okay. So 4 interviews later, here we are, almost 2 years now.
Wow.
It's gone by that fast.
And the fun part is before even the United Way, you were in sales, right?
So I worked for OCCK.
Oh, that's right.
Yes. So I was their director for their transportation department and worked there for a while before moving into United Way role. So
Why did I think you have a sales background though?
I don't know.
Sales, no
I think
sales,
it's your
I guess.
maybe your alter ego that I think is has a sales
It's
background.
possible. Yeah, no. Before that, I lived in Wichita and ran 13 retail stores
Maybe that's why I think of
across
it. Okay.
Wichita as the district manager for a company up there. So, I mean, you're doing sales across. I get
Across
it.
the board.
Across the board. I mean, selling how great our nonprofits are.
There you go.
Yeah.
So
That's totally
it really is a sales job.
Mm-hmm.
So
So your title, if you said it a second ago, you do both development and strategic partnership work. Is that correct?
So we just did some restructuring. So my new title,
Okay.
as of a week ago, if you really want to know, is Senior VP and Chief Development Officer. So our CEO, Jim Remar, who's been with the Cosmosphere over 20 years, has kind of moved me into his, not that I wasn't already doing this stuff, but kind of helping lead a lot of the organization, but then also working across many donors, many aerospace companies, all of those things. So it's a really exciting time. Space is cool again, I like to say.
It was always cool.
It's always cool, but to the general people, it's cool again now.
Yeah,
And so it's really exciting with Artemis II getting ready to launch any day now with the window of April 1st through April 6th. Hopefully, fingers crossed, everything seems to be looking good. Although I know this is going to be recorded, but the NASA administrator is supposed to be coming to the Cosmosphere on April 6th if Artemis does not launch.
We'll all
So I don't
cross our
know
fingers for you.
if I want to cross my fingers on which way. We have an alumni who actually does all of the training for the astronauts. So if she saw me say that I was like torn on it, she might come after me, but that's okay. So, but it's awesome. We live in a really exciting time right now.
I totally agree. Since you brought up Artemis II,
Yeah.
it's kind of astounding to those of us space geeks how little the public is aware of Artemis II and what it is. Could you tell our audience?
Yeah.
Me, the public, me, the audience.
Yeah. So going back to the moon again, Artemis II getting ready to launch here in a little over a week. And so really the Cosmosphere is, as Gus knows, and Sydney, have you been to the Cosmosphere?
So I live in McPherson, so Cosmosphere is a go-to for the kids.
Yeah. So when you think about the Cosmosphere and its total mission of inspiring the next generation of astronauts or interest in aerospace, and then telling the true story of the space race, which the Cosmosphere is the only place you can see that in the world, side by side. But now that we're getting ready to launch back up and everything that's going into that, the Cosmosphere is actually hosting a launch party for the launch, and doing a VIP experience to where you actually get to watch the launch in our mission control room that we have at the Cosmosphere. So going back and all of those things, it's exciting to see all the work that's been going into it and everything that they're working then towards for Artemis III. There's just a lot that's happening here now and in the next couple of years as well. So
Kansas Wesleyan is proud to be the educational crossroads of North Central Kansas. As a partner of Ask a Kansan, we share the desire to build our communities and to discover what makes our region special. Learn more about the power of and at kwu.edu. Could you talk a little bit about how the Cosmosphere came to be, like Patty Carey, and kind of get us to today and what all you do?
Yeah. A really amazing story when you hear how this all started. Our founder, Patty Carey, when she was growing up, her dad took her out into their field down in Oklahoma where she lived, telescope, looking at the stars. And that was really what started her passion for just a love of the stars in general. And so in 1962, Patty had her own stargazing ball that she took to the Hutchinson Fairgrounds in a chicken coop.
Love it.
And set it up there, set up folding chairs. She wanted everybody to have an opportunity to just really see how beautiful the sky is and everything that it's capable of. And so she invited the community to come and enjoy that. And it went off so well that what we now know as Hutchinson Community College, they invited her into their science department, into their planetarium that they had to continue doing more shows and things of that nature. And that planetarium now is what we know as our Dr. Goddard's lab.
Oh, wow.
In our facility.
I did not know
That's
that.
why it has a dome.
Yep, that's why it has the dome.
Well, I knew it had the dome, like...
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was a part of the college, and then it now is part of the Cosmosphere. And from there, it just grew. They added on what's our planetarium now, to now we have also a dome theater. And then in 1997, when they brought the SR-71 Blackbird, the rest of the facility was built around the Blackbird. And then the museum accumulating more and more artifacts. So the Cosmosphere has the most U.S. artifacts outside of the Smithsonian and the most Soviet artifacts outside of Moscow. And so our collection just continued to grow and grow and grow to where then in 1985, they decided that they needed camps for students. And that's where our Future Astronaut program really started. And it was our higher level, older high school students coming to the Cosmosphere, spending time with us, going through camps, learning what it meant to be and train like an astronaut. And then our SpaceWorks division came out of that, where we do all of our own restoration fabrication, not only for ourselves, but we travel all over the world doing restoration, fabrication. Our most recent one that we did was redoing mission control for Johnson Space Center. And
the original like cabinets,
yes,
right?
correct. Yeah. Yes. The Apollo 13 movie that Tom Hanks did, our SpaceWorks division did about 90% of all of the movie props for that film.
Wow.
We've done work on For All Mankind, the Apple TV series, which is a whole, he is, which I love. One
of my favorites. I mean, literally, I think next week, the 5th season comes out.
Yeah.
So very apropos.
Yeah. So we also did restoration for the F1 with Jeff Bezos when their dive team went and recovered the Saturn V from the ocean. So we could be here all day, honestly. We have a very short time, but and so now the Cosmosphere is, as what it is now, has begun to get current artifacts. We now have a flown Merlin engine that was donated to us from SpaceX. We just found out that we are getting a parachute from SpaceX now that visitors will actually be able to touch when they come. And so the Cosmosphere, wow, amazing place that's doing a phenomenal job telling the history of the space race, and you get that comparison side by side when you come and visit us.
Is there, so like in all of that craziness, is there an artifact that like particularly infatuates you?
Well, Apollo 13. So we have Apollo 13 in our collection. And the story behind that is really amazing. So, of course, they, when everything happened and they recovered it, they wanted to figure out what happened, what went wrong. And so they completely tore apart the whole interior of the capsule itself. Searching and trying to figure that out. It then went on exhibit over in France, in Paris, for a period of time. And then when it finally came back to the U.S., our SpaceWorks division actually redid the whole interior of the capsule itself. So when you come to the Cosmosphere and see it now in its display, that whole interior was completely redone by our SpaceWorks division. And you wouldn't know that it looks like it was the original. That's how amazing. So I would say that that's a pretty amazing piece of our collection. Of course, we have Liberty Bell 7, which is amazing. We have the V2. Yeah, I could go on and on.
So the Cosmosphere is very unique in that it houses both Soviet era and, American space history artifacts. Has that changed at all with, recent developments like the relationship with Russia and all of that? Or I know that there's been some really intentional work done by the space agencies to not let that affect their working relationship.
Right. So I would say no, not for us personally. And the reason I say that is because of how we got those artifacts. So there was a traveling exhibit that was in the US and that company went bankrupt. And so they had to sell off all of those pieces. And at that time, the Cosmosphere was really trying to beef up its collection to have and be able to tell those stories. And so they took advantage of, that difficult situation for them. And that's how it came to be that we have all of those artifacts because of that company that was touring in the US at that time going bankrupt and didn't really have anything else any other way but to sell them off. And so we went and took as much as we could, which now is our collection that we have that allows us to be the only place you can get the full side-by-side comparison of the space race from a US and Soviet.
Okay, so as has been previously referenced, I am a biased party in this interview. I have a lot of love for the Cosmosphere. I've worked there briefly in college doing Dr. Goddard's lab, and I attended the space camps for 5 years. And at that kind of point in human space flight, the shuttle was still launching regularly. Yep. And that was kind of the most recent development. And honestly, that had been going on for like the better part of 30 years.
Right.
And so there's kind of this new thing that we didn't really know what to think about. And it's called private space flight. And, there's a few billionaires that were kind of spending money on it, but it wasn't really sure if it was going anywhere.
Yeah.
And between that point and now, like 15, 20 years later, oh my goodness, like the whole world has changed. Yeah. And so what is the Cosmosphere? I mean, you sort of already mentioned a few of the things, but I'm just curious, how does the Cosmosphere plan on like keeping up with all of this crazy development that's been going on?
So right now, like I mentioned, we have one piece in our collection that's telling that current story of space exploration. But the intent is to continue to add to that collection. And so we're fortunate, down in our museum, we're kind of at maximum capacity, to be honest. If you haven't been there, we're at maximum capacity down there. And right now, even having the Merlin down there, it's kind of out of place. And so the intent is to create space in our rotunda area, utilizing some of that space that's just kind of sitting empty, doesn't really have a lot of rhyme or reason. And that really is the intent, to then begin telling the current and future story of space exploration from a NASA perspective, but also from the private. And like I mentioned, we're very fortunate. We have a great relationship with SpaceX. We have a board member who works very closely with Gwen Shotwell, and really tries to keep us in the loop and know what's going on. But of course, we're also building relationships with the Fireflies and the Axioms of the world, and helping people understand that, yes, NASA is very important and serves, but also our private companies can do things sometimes a lot quicker, as we know, with the red tape that the government has to fall under and things of that nature. But I would say also with the new NASA administrator, Jared Isaacman, he really is pushing the boundaries and understands what that takes, having flown on 2 of his own private missions that he funded himself with SpaceX. So he sees that from that perspective too. And I think that is huge and just then shows why we need to continue telling that story of, yes, we're a great history museum, but that's not the only thing we want to be known for, and telling that future story as well.
This episode is sponsored by Renaissance Cafe. Serving Northern Italian cuisine prepared with a fresh, contemporary influence, the Renaissance Cafe is one of Kansas's favorite restaurants. Whether you're planning a romantic dinner date, a family celebration, or an intimate meal with friends, the Renaissance provides a unique dining experience with an old-world atmosphere. Open Thursday through Saturday evenings, the Renaissance Cafe is located just south of Salina in Assyria, Kansas. Visit renaissancecafeassyria.com to book your reservation today. One of the things, whenever people go with me to the Cosmosphere, I have to kind of give them my version of the tour of the Hall of Space. Yeah. And what I love about the structure, I've been to the Smithsonian, and the Smithsonian is really, in my opinion, difficult because it's not laid out in a way that allows you to tell a story as cleanly. And the Hall of Space is, now it has a few more options in that path because of the recent renovation, but it's still, you get a sense of like where rocketry came from as an idea all the way through to it taking us to the moon and a little bit beyond with Skylab and now those other things. But yeah, could you tell us a little bit about that renovation, what that's been like, and what new visitors that have maybe been before, but haven't been in a while, what they could expect?
If you've been there in the past, but you haven't been there for a while, a lot of how we would describe it was kind of dark, and you were kind of going from place to place, but just seeing things, not really getting that full story, that comparison. And so that was really a big piece. The joke was, and this was before me, that when they would hold events and they would try to put stuff down there for visitors to do, donors, things of that nature, nobody wanted to go down there because it was so dark at times, especially in the evenings. And so they really took that into the thought process when renovating and redesigning how you view the museum. And so it is a lot brighter. There's more colors, and it really did then shift everything so that when you're walking, you are, on your left side seeing all of the Soviet and on the right side seeing all the US. The tunnel back down into the museum with the Berlin Wall pieces that we have, it just really kind of sets the stage and gets you in the right mindset of, okay, now I'm really about to see a true story. And that, to your point with the Smithsonian, the Air and Space Museum, that is the big difference between us, and what we really pride ourselves on is you're not just kind of walking from artifact to artifact without really seeing that true picture. We want you to fully understand the history and what was put into it to get us to be where we were. And then also kind of sets you up now as you learn about what's going on of like, okay, this is kind of where things halted in a sense. But this is now where we're going, and telling that story and why it's so important now for us to really continue to tell what's going on currently as well.
It's things like that, the storytelling element that I think, like you said, set the Cosmosphere apart. And that's not just our opinion.
Right.
I read that Artemis II astronauts have given it their seal of approval as one of the best, if not the best.
Correct.
And we hear that from other astronauts and other people in space stuff. So it's really cool.
We do. One of our main contacts at NASA specifically has the image of one of the astronauts saying, well, you know, Senator, the best space museum is in your home state, the Cosmosphere in Hutchinson, Kansas. And so we don't take that lightly. I mean, that's a big thing. And we're fortunate that Senator Moran, he truly believes and understands the impact that the Cosmosphere is making. And so we're appreciative of that. So yes, the best space museum in the world.
So I like to say that the Cosmosphere has a secret. Well, actually, many secrets, but
Many.
But like when you enter the Cosmosphere, there's the big SR-71 Blackbird, and you go through that, and on that main level, there's obviously Dr. Goddard's lab and the theater and all those different things.
Yeah.
But there's a level above that that most visitors don't even know is there, and they're missing out on probably the coolest thing that it does. So could you tell us about the camps in a little more detail?
Yep. So the Cosmosphere has summer camps that start at the age of 3rd grade. And those are day camps running through the 6th grade. And then starting from middle school through high school, we have overnight camps as well. And so in 1985, like I mentioned, that was when the initial first camp really started. And they've just continued to build upon that as the years have gone on to having, 4 levels of camps, and then now going all the way from 3rd through 12th grade. And so upstairs in that area, we have multiple classrooms. We have a full mission control. You go through simulations. We have a shuttle up there where you search for air leaks in the capsule. You name it, we probably do it. We're getting ready to launch a brand new camp this summer in partnership with K-State Salina, working with drones. So students will come in, design their drone, 3D print their drone, assemble their drone, and then eventually fly it at the end of the week. That is what Gus is referring to, is our amazing classrooms and education area up on the 2nd floor. And so in 2025, we celebrated 40 years of Cosmosphere camps and held an alumni reunion that weekend, invited alumni back from all over. And I would say the thing that most amazed me of that weekend, there was probably maybe only a handful of alumni that were within driving distance of the Cosmosphere.
Really?
The rest flew in to Wichita and then drove over to spend the weekend with us because, like Gus, they have an affinity for the Cosmosphere. It's truly what inspired them to more than likely pursue the careers that they're in today because of the impact that they have. And we're fortunate we see Gus's storytelling and love for space being an alumni of those camps. I mean, it truly impacts them and the workforce that comes from it.
So like if you know kids that are interested in STEM, this is such a great way to engage them. Science especially is something that can exist like on a page and in maybe on screen. But this sort of hands-on engagement with science is transformative.
It truly is. And when you think about, our amazing educators and you think about, okay, they're teaching from a textbook. Some of these concepts are hard to put those hands-on examples together for them. That's what we excel at. And so many times we have educators that reach out to us and say, do you have any hands-on activities you can help me with? Do you have those curriculum based? And so everything that we do in our camps, whether it's camps, field trips, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, overnight school camps, specifically ties to one, the 16 career pathways for the state of Kansas. And secondly, all of the next gen science standards. So everything you are getting from our education department is the top of the top. You won't get any more elite anywhere else than what we're doing and how we're putting STEM and STEAM into what we teach students. And it's fun. It doesn't feel like learning. And that's the real key to it, is for them to not feel like they're learning and having a great time, and then connect it later in life to something that they're doing in their day-to-day lives.
The first year that I went to what we called FAT-P at the time, Future Astronaut Training Program.
I'm learning so much today.
That whole week was kind of like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You spent like learning and preparing as a small team. There's 4 or 5 of us on each team. And then we went into a simulator and had a simulated mission that lasted, I think, probably about 2 hours. And this is like a legit simulator that moved backwards, like you were tilted back in your seat, and all the same buttons that maybe not all of the same buttons, but many of the same buttons that they actually had on the space shuttle. And as I kind of reflect on that now, I realize that a lot of the lessons we were teaching or we were learning were actually soft lessons. The auxiliary power unit is an important thing to know about.
Yes.
But it's really, teaching like 7th and 8th grade, 9th, 10th grade kids how to engage in teamwork in stressful situations. I was probably never more excited than going into that. I remember after we succeeded in our mission, they like ushered us into that really cool conference room that overlooks. And I just remember thinking like, we did it. We survived.
We did not fail.
So yeah, I really think, even though I don't work in STEM, that the lessons I learned in that camp were really important.
Well, so many times, working with so many aerospace companies and having these conversations with, Textron and Boeing and Airbus and all of those. That's the biggest thing that we truly hear is the soft skills that they get freshly graduated students that come in, and they don't always know how to work as a team or communicate as well as they should. And that's something that we really do try to incorporate into all of our camps. And I can't tell you how many times students have come in and they have, in their minds, they're going to be an engineer, they're going to be a pilot, one of those top things. And they come out and they say, okay, well, I just did marketing and communications and PR in this camp. I really liked that. Maybe I don't want to do this. And it happens. They end up going and changing what they originally thought they were going to do, because the Cosmosphere really does try to show you, yes, you can be an astronaut, you can be a pilot, but there are so many other people that are doing things that are also impacting it, and you might enjoy it. And so connecting those is, just to Gus's point, so important for them to understand that there is only a handful of individuals that actually go up to space, but there are thousands and thousands of others that are on the ground making that happen.
Oh, I'm like conjuring up memories from, not that I was alive for Apollo program, but from when President Kennedy made the promise to go to the moon by the end of the decade, and 1969 July, when we actually landed on the moon, like the hundreds of thousands of people across the country that worked together in a systematic way to achieve that vision. And I think what's so beautiful about that moment in our history as a country and as a species is that there was not much that could get in the way. Think about the 60s and how much turmoil, assassinations and just awful things were happening, war. But despite all of that, this vision of going someplace further and beyond, we rose to the occasion. And so that's one of the things that I think the Cosmosphere continues to instill in kids today, and in me today, is this idea of like, well, what is our vision for the future, and how do we sort of align ourselves for that vision? And obviously it takes a heavy theme of spaceflight at the Cosmosphere, but it also sort of asks each person who visits there, what is possible? What do you want to see in the world? And then what are you going to do to achieve it?
Well, and I think too, when you think about just how many folks it took to accomplish that, and how many industries it impacted, and how much comes out of just space in general that we don't realize is impacting, whether it's, healthcare, or this is crazy, but as simple as a ballpoint pen, that came out of space from the space race. Those types of things that you wouldn't actually think about and connect to what is happening. I mean, it's really mind-blowing when you sit down and you think about just all of those things and how everything impacts everything. It blows my mind.
So I can't help. We're sitting here on, what is it, the 24th? Yeah, March 24th.
Yeah.
I think this episode comes out roughly next week. Is that right?
April,
2 weeks?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. So by the time you're listening to this, there's been a movie out for a couple weeks now, Project Hail Mary, which is, I think, exciting for all of us space geeks because it features space very heavily. Yeah. I'm curious, have you seen that movie yet?
I haven't seen it. However, we are fortunate. We have an alumni member who works at JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratory, out in Pasadena, California. He spent his whole day a couple weeks ago with Ryan Gosling. Because I know.
Should have gotten to space.
I know.
Hung out with Ryan Gosling.
Exactly. And so it was funny. I was on a call with him a week after it had happened. And I said, how was that? He goes, I spent the whole day with him, all of those things. He's such a, great guy. We had a fun time. And I'm just over here like, and you didn't call me. I could have flown out there real quick and just been there for, emotional support for you that day. So no, I haven't seen it, but it's at the Cosmosphere right now.
Oh, is it really?
It is. It's our
Dome
feature
Theater?
Film in the Dome Theater.
Maybe have to come down.
Yeah.
It's a really good movie at multiple levels. It's not just a movie for us space geeks.
No.
It's a buddy movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's so go check that out. I think it also kind of points at this idea of like space asks us as humans to like come together in a way that most things don't. And so, if that's intriguing, you should definitely go watch that movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good. Let's see. Do you have any questions? Sorry.
I do.
Gus is just taking.
I was going to let Gus just do his thing today. But I do have a question of like the learning process of when you start at the Cosmosphere to learning, one, the entire museum of probably going through and having to actually have the time to read everything and learn basically what the Cosmosphere is about. How was that learning process? Was it hard? Was it easy for you?
It was a lot.
Did you have any interest in space at all before you started?
Yeah, so I did have an interest in space, but it wasn't like to the capacity that it is now. I mean, now I'm maybe not on Gus's level, but that's okay. But it's amazing when you actually sit and like connect everything that the Cosmosphere does. I mean, I was one of those people where I had been there on a field trip when I was younger and hadn't been back, since. And I'm sitting there interviewing and I'm just like, oh my goodness, like, what am I getting myself into? But then when you hear just Jim, our CEO, his passion for it. I mean, how he came to be at the Cosmosphere, starting out as a curator and just working his way up now, having been there over 20 years as our president. It's hard not to fall in love with that place just from his excitement alone, but then also just realizing how much we truly do, to your point, Sydney. It's overwhelming. I mean, truly. And so it took a lot of time to kind of figure it out and understand, how do I tell the story? How do I take my passions and my understandings? And one thing that we are a lot better now, but we didn't talk about our education like we should have. We didn't share how impactful and all the things our alumni are doing, and that kind of started at the Cosmosphere. And so that was something that I could really kind of grasp onto for me to kind of help connect those pieces of what we're teaching kids now and how it ties into the story and connecting our artifacts and being able to talk with aerospace companies about what they're doing and how we're really igniting that spark in their future workforce. Because so many of those people that are working at those companies, they're getting ready to retire. They're becoming of that age, and we're not filling that pipeline up as quickly as we need to just because we aren't getting that excitement. And so I feel like the Cosmosphere is really that place where you're not just doing, everyday kitchen science experiments, as I like to say. You're actually doing things, you're doing missions to Mars now. You're working with robotics. You're working with drones. You're using VR, detaching from the space shuttle and having to figure out how to get back. I mean, all these things that are really fun things that are what you're preparing you for your future. And so that's really what kind of helped me start to connect the pieces of, okay, this is where this goes, and this is what this was, and this is how we teach it. So I did give a presentation though at Ambucks, men's Ambucks here. Oh gosh, I had maybe been at the Cosmosphere a couple months.
Oh, good.
And I was like, oh gosh, okay, well, if you've been to men's Ambucks here, you know how that is. And so it's like, I'm not sure if I'm ready for this, but okay. And so I had a whole PowerPoint, ready to roll with all of my notes just completely written out. And I was like, please don't ask me any questions I can't answer. And if I don't, I'm going to have to tell you, I'll get back to you. But now I'm just like, okay, I feel like I can really talk about it. And I love it. It's fun. It's some place where you truly want to go to work every day. And I feel like not many people can always say that. I mean, I know you guys would say that you love to go to work every day. We've had this conversation before, but I love to go to work every day and walk in and just, who am I going to get to talk to today? Who's going to walk through the door? What astronauts do we have coming in to help with a camp or a school group? I mean, it's fun.
I feel like the Cosmosphere is kind of a place on the forefront, and your job is on the forefront of that, like pushing for what the Cosmosphere will be. And so you're building a lot of relationships, some of which are, trying to fundraise, some of which are trying to build more strategic partnerships. Can you just talk about like what sort of relationships you're looking to build in the Kansas region?
Yeah.
And how Kansas can support you in that?
Sure. So as we know, we like to, call Wichita the air capital of the world. But in a lot of conversations we've been having, Kansas as a whole really should be the air capital of the world. Because when you think about just all across the state, how many companies and businesses and even K-State here in Salina, everything that they're doing and impacting is truly shifting what the Cosmosphere is able to offer. And so the things that I've been working on specifically, is just helping companies realize that you don't have to be in aerospace to be impacted by what our education department is teaching. There's a company that we've been working with who does a lot of design and build work. And we have the ability with VR to really help show students what's out there in a architect, design, build type of world. And so students do that. They go in, they build, a Mars habitat and have to live on it. It's just like constructing in real life. The drone program that I mentioned, one of the partners in that donated dollars to support that is a construction company. But they heavily work with drones. They use drones to check roofing and all of those types of things. And so really the biggest thing that we've been working on with companies across the state is just helping them understand that what your business is doing, we're probably teaching students in some capacity. Is it space themed? Yes, it is. But to understand the concepts, that's really what then they can take and walk away with. We've been fortunate this time last year, we signed into a partnership with K-State Salina and have been doing a lot of work in multiple areas on their campus. One specifically is with their new K-Aries facility, the VR component. Their students right now, as one of their senior capstone projects, are taking our air leak scenario and putting it into VR for us. And so building on that, we've incorporated composites into our camps a lot more heavily after doing some work with their composites lab here on campus. We're doing a lot more with outreaches. And so that was one partnership specifically that we hadn't really thought to explore. And then kind of started to have conversations when their new aviation department head, Ty, came on. And it just kind of grew from there to where it was made total sense for us to go into a full-blown MOU partnership with them to really solidify that it's not just Wichita doing great things. It's all across the state, and it's happening right here in our own backyards.
Okay, can I wrap things up by telling you a bit of space trivia that I've been keeping kind of hidden?
Yeah, please do.
Okay, this is just interesting. So we have an astronaut from Salina named Steve Hawley.
Yeah.
Steve grew up here, and then he went to KU, and then he ended up working at NASA as an astronaut, and he serviced Hubble, which, if you know anything about the shuttle, that was some of the scariest missions that the shuttle did because it was really high orbit. And Steve was in that generation of astronauts that were scientists. They weren't pilots. Like they were beginning to do real science in space, not just pilot the thing. And Steve fell in love with a young Sally Ride. And Sally actually came here, and they were married in the backyard of their house, of Steve's parents' house on Santa Fe in Salina. And so the first female astronaut from the U.S. at one point was in Salina. Now, they weren't married for very long, and they went their separate ways. And very sadly, Sally passed away from cancer, not a decade or two ago. But I think it's just neat to see how some of these space stories intersect around here more than you think they do.
They do. And we were fortunate. We actually had Steve at the Cosmosphere back in September for our alumni event. So Steve and his wife, Eileen, now, who also worked for NASA, joined us, and we had Fred Hayes on virtually, and then astronaut Don Thomas, who was actually with Steve on the aircraft, so they were together. But to your point, it's amazing how much Salina truly impacts a lot of what is going on and has gone on. So funny fact then, if we're going to go on that.
Oh, no.
Okay, so
I'm going to have to think of one now.
sorry. Yeah, Sydney, get thinking while I'm talking. So I was in Seattle a few weeks ago and was meeting with a donor of ours up there, and he is a pilot. And I learned from him that Salina was one of his favorite stopping points to refuel, because they would give anybody that stopped to refuel here a box of steaks. And so Salina was known for giving the best steaks to the pilots when they would stop to refuel. And so that's how the first knowing of Salina came to be for him, was he would always stop here.
Wow. That's a new one.
So there you go.
That's a new one. Wow. Thank you so much for joining us today and for allowing me to talk about something I'm really passionate about.
Of course.
And thanks for all the work that you've done.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I'm glad to be here. Glad to be on the show. And it's been fun.
Want to spread your organization's message across Kansas? Consider becoming a sponsor. Ask a Kansan has a unique focus on Kansas and its people. By sponsoring our podcast, your organization can reach people from Canarado to Kansas City, Wichita to Washington, and all the great places in between. We have a variety of sponsorship packages available to fit your budget and needs. For more information, visit askakansan.com/sponsorships or call us at 785-571-9507.
Well, we hope you enjoyed that interview with Claire, at least as much as I did.
Yeah. It always fascinates me about how museums are not just museums. And I feel like we just need to drive that home, is like, yes, they're preserving history. Yes, they're trying to tell stories, but they're also working towards the future.
Yeah.
In some capacity. And so I agree. Just really want to drive
libraries.
that home.
I think both of those are sort of
libraries, I
misunderstood.
feel like, are the most underutilized resource in every single community.
Yeah.
And I will die on that hill.
I agree. And so, I go to the Cosmosphere, engage with it. There's just one more space thing I just can't not say. We touched on it briefly, but SpaceWorks is their division that makes incredible things for other museums. They also redo space artifacts. This is like such a niche thing. Like very few people in the world like fix old space junk. And like the level of expertise and difficulty they face in some of these things. She mentioned the Liberty Bell 7, which was one of the Mercury era capsules. And it was piloted by astronaut Gus Grissom. which obviously another one of the reasons why I'm into space is because tragically Gus Grissom later
Another
died
Gus.
in Apollo 1 fire, which is really sad. But he had a really close call in Liberty Bell 7. When it splashed down in the ocean, the hatch exploded open early before the team was there to keep it from sinking. And so he was just barely able to get out of his harness and get out of the capsule before it sank to the bottom of the ocean. That capsule sat on the bottom of the ocean for years before it was eventually discovered and brought to the Cosmosphere for it to be fixed. Capsule's open, so the fish, the all of the little bacteria, all of that stuff was around that thing for decades before they found it, brought it up, and the Cosmosphere had it in their. They actually had one part of SpaceWorks was actually in the museum, so you could see it, and that's where they had Liberty Bell 7. So they made this thing look. I'm not going to say like new, but they made it look like
good.
it wasn't sitting at the bottom of the ocean
Yeah.
for several decades. So that just kind of describes the level of coolness that they do there. So anyway, thank you for letting me tell just one more thing. Now over to you for the segment.
Speaking of coolness, so before I get into the segment, I do want to do a little shout out. So merch is up. The Ask a Kansan store is here. Usually we save this for the very end of the episode, but let's be honest, some of you never get that far. So before we go, so we have our Curious Kansan water bottles.
These are white.
We have been using these all weekend, and this is the same ice. It is now a Tuesday. This is the same ice as Sunday. Like, this has just been chilling in my house, and some of you are like, I can't believe you haven't watched it. No, I haven't. Okay, it's fine. Get over it. It's my water bottle, not yours. But they are stainless steel. They're white because the whole purpose of it is we wanted you guys to put your stickers on it and share it, put photos of it, tag us in it. Because stickers are like a really cool thing now. And what's the first thing you want to do when you get a new sticker is
Put it on something.
Put it on something.
Yeah.
Tanner actually had this brilliant idea. He's like, well, why don't we just give them a place? And so it has Ask a Kansan on it, Curious Kansan. We've got our own stickers on here. I've got United Way, which is funny. I just put it on this morning, not even thinking like Claire.
used to work there,
And then my library. Again, I will die on that hill. But yeah, and then our kind of Curious Kansan ones.
Because I'm kind of prone to such things, I've already dropped it, and so it got a little dent on it.
Well, that just means it's been used.
Exactly. So can I tell my favorite sticker? There is a Kansas musician named John DePew. He's a newgrass, kind of bluegrass artist, and I have this can of worms sticker, which I just love. So yeah. So if you do this, we want pictures of your stickered thermos.
Because they're cool.
Water bottle.
The other thing is we have t-shirts. This is actually how they come. Open them up now so you can see them. I got it. We're good. So also we have the Kansas Stars logo, which I'll show you here in bigger. That's on this t-shirt, but we have them in stickers, and we have a Curious Kansan also available on the Ask a Kansan store. And then we have these signature tees. These will be limited. At some point we will renew them and come up with a different design. I don't know when that will be, but we want to kind of keep things fresh. So get it while you can. So this is the Kansas Stars. It's this fun little logo. And then you have your Curious Kansan on your sleeve, Ask a Kansan on the back. So it's fun. They're available on our store.
It's a good quality print. It doesn't have like that big tarpy thing on the front.
Yeah.
So
100% cotton. It's not like one of the weird, like, no offense to the Red Cross, but you get those Red Cross t-shirts and they kind of just feel like paper. But they're really good sleep shirts. I will tell you that. Like, if you have not slept in a Red Cross t-shirt as a child, you have not lived. I
guess we're
was
just
that just
confirming
me?
I'm dead. Yeah.
Because my grandma would go give blood all the time, and like if I went to my grandma's house, I just wanted to sleep in her t-shirts, and she'd give me the big Red Cross t-shirts. Anyway,
We've learned so much about
we've learned
you,
so much.
Sydney. It's great.
Okay. So with that, I tried to be on brand today with our segment, and it went off the rails a little bit. So I did try to do space history, but for some reason, every time I looked up a space story, there was like marriage advice on the exact same page of that newspaper.
What does that tell you?
I don't know. So we'll start the first one. So this is the Wichita Eagle, October 18th, 1957, where it has this really cool article. It's this in Sputnik's wake, and the title is Mankind's Ancient Dream, the Conquest of Outer Space, Now Near to Reality. So it gives this really cool piece, written piece of Sputnik, kind of the breakdown, where we are at. It's a really good article.
I kind of see where we went off the rails today.
Yeah, and you can see where we went off the rails, because in that same article, there's a little segment that says, for less awesome view of the future, see Henry McLemore, McLemores. How do you pronounce that? McLores? Henry's. Anyway, column anywhere else on this page. And I'm like, okay, well, where's Henry's article? So Henry's article is undoubtedly moon people ready for U.S. tourists. Here we go. Now, I'm not going to read this whole article. I'm going to read my favorite part because the article is really funny. But basically, this is not from a Kansas. I mean, it was in the Wichita Eagle, but it's not. It's from Florence, basically. So the guy is comparing Florence's tourism to U.S. citizens as the moon people will treat.
So this is very tongue in cheek, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
It is not literal.
Okay, good. I was like,
gosh,
I
hope not.
Yeah, that would be bad.
So my favorite part of this article is a segment called Beams and Dollars, and we'll read it. It is also reasonable to assume that many moon characters have started exploring the possibilities of a black market in money. The moon's unit of money. Let us call it the moon beam for convenience sake. Is unlikely to be worth exactly what the dollar is. So there will be a need for men to operate dreary little shops as fronts for places where an American will be able to get, say, I don't know, 436 beams for his dollar instead of the official rate of 412. That's a lot of going on right there. It gets better. Heaven only knows how many moon people are busy setting up antique shops. My guess is that no fewer than 3 million are hard at work filling windows and back rooms with old moon chairs, settees, lamps, silver platters, cream pitchers, warming pans, muskets, and the like.
I can't even make sense of this.
No. And I'd say that nearly as many Moonians are turning out cheap native wearing apparel. No woman tourist is coming back to Earth without a blouse like those worn by the moon peasants.
Well, that seems very offensive.
I know. Or a pair of sandals either. That she looks a fright in them isn't going to stop her. It is impossible to estimate the number of moon people at work printing scenic postcards. Yes, sir, it must be exciting up there on the moon these days.
I have so many questions
There's
for
so many
Mystery Henry
questions.
McLemore. Yeah, this is weird. There was an era before we actually went to space where we really don't know what to expect. And I think this article kind of highlights that.
Yeah. So 1957 is when this came out.
Okay,
October 57.
So where did your newspapers.com journey take you from here?
Oh, so many. On the exact same page. This article, along with the other article, there's this article. So let's explore your mind. Girls don't mind meeting their boyfriend's mothers. True or false? So it's an article where it gives 3 different questions. And so if you're wondering, false. A girl does this sentence does not make sense to me. Okay. A girl does not have the chance her boyfriend has had to get acquainted with the other's family during their dating and courting days. Basically, his first point is, if he doesn't like his mom, she's already going to be biased against the mom. If he loves his mom, she's going to be like, oh no, I can't live up to mom. Which is very fair. That is very true to this day.
Okay.
The third question is a little interesting. The great problem with prejudice is how to overcome it. True or false?
I mean, you could say that about anything, though.
Exactly. And so they say false. The most difficult problem is often even to recognize that it exists.
Fine. Oh, no.
Yeah, it gets worse.
No, this is bad.
Yeah. So we're not going to...
Yeah.
It gets a little interesting on question 3.
A
but
little
this is on
interesting.
the same. There's yeah. There's some anti-Semitic things. I'm not gonna read them, but it's just like out of the blue, nowhere on the same page as all this moon space and the legit article about Sputnik.
I think what I'm learning is that sometimes I fall into the trap of like thinking that journalism has fully devolved into like not great things now. But I guess it's calling this journalism is
a little rough.
Yeah.
All right, next one.
Also, the smiles on those people.
Oh yeah, there was a picture that was really weird.
Uh-huh.
This was also on the exact same page called Modern Marriage. Being ignored hurts, girl. No, I have to set this page up for you. This was on the bottom left side. Sputnik was on kind of the top page with the picture. Your moon was on the bottom right. Like this was all over. It's not like it was sectioned out.
Which paper was it from?
Wichita Eagle.
Wichita Eagle. Okay, two quick comments. The way you read that was being ignored hurts, girl. But I think it's actually being ignored hurts, girl. Okay, please.
It is very much so. But basically, I'm not going to read the whole one because it gets a little interesting. But basically, this senior in high school, Dolores, is asking Dr. Paul Popino why she doesn't have friends anymore. And that's like the basis of the article. And here's his response to her is... I'm going to read the last paragraph and then this list of questions. And it's very interesting. One of the finest books on a subject is called Teens, How to Meet Your Problems by the well-known husband and wife writing team, John and Dorothea Crawford. In this book, Dr. and Mrs. Crawford deal with exactly the problem you describe. They point out that your interests may have changed, that your personality may have changed, or if there's been no such change, perhaps other people are catching up on you now. So, and then he goes, check yourself on these points. And I will say, as a mom, I don't know if I think some of them, yes, I would probably explain to my daughter, but some of them are, I'm like, I don't know.
I will say, like, I've already kind of pre-read the list, and my first read on it was like if this is just directed towards girls, it's like absolutely terrible.
Oh yeah.
But if it's directed to everyone, I feel slightly different about it. Mm-hmm. So please continue.
Yeah. So I'm gonna read them and then we can chat, or maybe not all of them, but there's like 10 of them. But the first one: have you been too touchy or cranky lately? Well, mind you, he's talking to a senior in high school, a teenage girl. All teenage girls are touchy and cranky. So, sure. Are you too bossy and not cooperative enough? So basically, are you too, again, this is to this senior in high school girl. Yeah. Are you too bossy and not cooperative
some
enough?
Doctor guy.
Well, all teenagers are bossy, and girls kind of, if you stand up for yourself, then you're not being cooperative. But anyway. 3, do you tend to argue over little things? All teenagers argue over little things. Do you frequently push people around? This one I don't really get. Like, are you being too...
Push people around in quotes.
Yeah.
So that's,
5, would others often consider you thoughtless or rude? Now, that's a really good, like, inner question. Like, is it my tone? Is it, like, I'm okay with that one. 6, must you have things your own way most of the time? 7, are you frequently jealous? 8, are you too sensitive about insignificant details? Well, what's insignificant? What's the definition of that? Again, this is 1957, so parenting then and parenting now very different. 9, do you like to run the whole show? 10, do you often pass along gossip and add to it?
Okay, I'm going back on what I said previously. Even if this was developed with both girls and boys in mind, it's clearly targeted towards girls in a bad way. Yeah.
But I just thought, again, it's on the same page as space. Like, that's what I was just like, this is all over the place. This is fascinating.
Yeah.
So that led me to more weird places on newspaper.com. So what's the next one? The Mercury Manhattan. I just thought this was funny on how some of this was phrased.
So
December 12th,
let's describe what we're
1957.
looking at here. We're looking at ads, probably from a grocery store.
Yes.
In the newspaper.
From Manhattan, Kansas, December 12th, 1957. Rump roast was only 63 cents a pound.
When was the last time you've had a rump roast?
I haven't because I can't afford one.
Okay. I was like, I don't even know I know what that is. A rump.
Ground beef, 3 pounds, $1.15.
Yep.
My favorite though is down here in the corner. It says wieners, 49 cents.
Yeah.
I just love it.
That was before that was
I
an
am
immature
secretly
thing,
a middle school boy when it comes to funny things. But also, one of the others that was funny is the value fancy, which is tomato catsup.
Yeah.
Tomato ketchup.
I think we just need to get back to spelling snacks the correct way.
Yes.
SNAX.
Potato snacks.
That is the correct way to spell
29
snacks.
cents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just love it. I
Well,
just thought
this
it was
was
fun.
certainly a journey.
Yeah.
Is there more?
I think there's one more.
Okay, let's.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't read this whole article. I just thought the very top part was really funny. This is from Atchison, Kansas, January 24th, 1898.
Oh.
And it says, a talk about marriage, advice of a doctor and a judge in regard to the matter.
Good, we're getting both sides of it.
Yeah,
here.
we're getting both sides. Both agree that early marriages are wise and that wedded life makes people better.
So in other words, get married young.
Get married young. You'll
the
never
first
regret
sentence
it.
of the article is two men reasoning from entirely different standpoints. Like, I think we're missing a whole side of marriage here by only talking to the men.
But anyway, so there's the rabbit holes that I went down. You're welcome.
Yeah, that was troubling.
Yeah. So
yeah, if you haven't checked out newspapers.com, it's very interesting.
It's so interesting and wild.
Like today, our history is being documented so much more thoroughly than that was, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Where like, just imagine your like great grandkids looking at your Instagram account.
That's terrifying, actually. Now I get why some people just like completely delete their Instagram accounts like every 5 years, like start fresh.
Somehow you've done it. You've made it to the end of an episode of Ask a Kansan.
Please make sure to visit us at askakansan.com. Make sure to subscribe to our Curious Kansan newsletter. Check out the articles on our website, askakansan.com. There's all kinds of other fun stuff on there.
Yep, we've got another episode next week and many more exciting. We're planning out like 2+ months right now.
Yeah.
So we're really excited about some of the guests we have coming up.
It's fun stuff. So without any further ado, we will see you till next time.